Alright, so the Databank Overseer achievement requires you to have 9,999 or more Cosmic Fragments when clearing a Swarm Disaster run. So that's going to require some RNG to achieve, so let's use this time to maximize our chances of getting this achievement. So we're going to break down this video into the following categories. 1. Prep work to maximize your chances. 2. Optimal path and openers. 3. Best Curios. 4. Best events. And 5. Optimal decision making. Okay, so let's start with prep work. So there are 2 occurrences that we want to set up first prior to the run, with the first one being the Kaching IPC banking event. So this one lets you deposit 200 fragments in order to withdraw 600 later on in a future run. Then our second one will be the IPC promotion saga event, specifically part 4. So I've got a video on my channel explaining how to do this. If you need help setting it up, I'll link it up above. The reason why we want part 4 is that it gives us 100 fragments along with an angel type IOU curio. So this is an amazing curio, which we'll talk about more in the curio section. Now moving on to optimal openers. So we're at the mercy of RNG for this achievement, except for this part. So we're going to make the most out of it. What we do here will have a knock-on effect across every single curio and event that we find moving forward. So it's pretty much the foundation of obtaining this achievement. So the opener will see us go down the remembrance path, simply due to the fact that this path gives us so much control over target farming certain events and curios compared to anything else. Preservation is also a stable alternative that can provide an okay amount of income, but I just found that Remembrance allows for more opportunities to get huge fragment injections. So what we want to do here in this path is start with either the 1 curio option or the 2 curios and a negative curio option. So if given the chance between the 2, I would always go with the 1 curio option. So the logic behind this is that since we're only interested in obtaining a single curio, the 1 curio option presents us with 3 curios to select from, which gives us a greater chance of finding the one that we're after. Whereas the 2 curio option only provides us 2 curios, but it also gives us the chance of getting a negative curio that can just shut down our run. So the curio that we're after will be the foundational piece of our run. This is the typical Genius Society gossip. So this curio makes it so that cosmetic fragments we obtain will be doubled, with the caveat that blessings will no longer be obtained after combat. But this really isn't that much of a problem in difficulty 1. So with how good this curio is, you're going to want to simply reset your run if it doesn't show up at the starting selection. The quickest way of doing this is just to run straight through to the enemy closest to the pillar in the starting tile and then defeat it. Once we defeat it, you can just end and finalize your run. You don't need to kill anything else, you don't need to interact with the pillar, you don't need to move to the next stage, just leave and try again until you get the Gossip Curio. Alright, so let's talk curios. We'll start off with the typical Genius Society gossip, which goes straight into the A tier. You want to be starting off every single run with this curio as it just straight up doubles the effect of every other curio and event. Now, the next best curio is definitely the Gold Coin of Discord. When you run this together with the Gossip Curio, the Gold Coin gives you 12% of your current fragments whenever you step into a new domain. So this is seriously broken and can pretty much get you the achievement by itself if you get it from the Plane 1 boss. So just as an example, if you had 1,000 fragments stepping into Plane 2, and you don't get a single fragment from there on out, either from combat, breakables, or events, your 1,000 fragments would balloon to almost 7,000 fragments by the end of your run. Now, if we do factor in all those battles, breakables, and events, that's easily over 9,999. The Angel type IOU Curio is another A tier curio, so this is what we prepped for through the IPC Promotional Saga Chapter 4. So this curio prevents you from earning fragments from battles for 5 battles in total, after which it will then double your current fragments. So that means that with the Gossip Curio, this is then tripled. This means that you only need 3,333 fragments when this triggers in order to get the achievement. The typical strategy when obtaining this curio is to avoid battles for as long as you can to build up more fragments through events, but making sure that you have enough battles left on the field to secure the effect. So as mentioned previously, this curio can come from the IPC Promotional Saga Chapter 4 that we prepared. Alternatively, it can also be rewarded from the IOU Dispenser event. Next up, we've got the Silver Coin of Discord, which is also another A tier curio. It immediately gives you 50% of your current fragments, so with the Gossip Curio, this is a straight up doubling of your current amount of fragments. So sometimes when I find this curio early on, like when I've only got 500 or 600 fragments, I actually opt to leave it alone and not pick it up just so that I might have a chance of finding it later on down in the line. So with this curio, if you've got 5,000 fragments, that's an instant achievement for you. Alright, so now let's quickly have a look through our BT curios. So these are just nice to haves that give you a little bit of a bump in fragments, but aren't necessarily run defining. There is one particular scenario in which the Society ticket is S tier, but we'll talk about that later. So the Society ticket gives us 75% more fragments from battles, so you typically get about 100 fragments a battle with it, up from your usual 50 to 60 when running with just a Gossip Curio. The Omniscient capsule doubles the rate at which break will spawn and then also doubles their rewards. So in the best case scenario, you're looking at getting 2 barrels in a domain, netting you about an extra 100 fragments. Though I do find that this rarely happens, as you do have energy and health capsules in the mix too. And then we've got the Black Hole Trap that gives you 10 fragments per character with full health at the end of combat. So with the Gossip Curio, you're looking at a maximum of 80 bonus fragments per battle. So how good this really is depends on your team composition. And now for the F tier Curios. They're ranked F because they'll F up your run if you ever pick them up, so just don't do it. We won't bother going into too much detail with them, but any of these Curios will be instant run enders as they take away your fragments. Okay, now let's cover events. So there are a total of 73 events in the Swarm Disaster mode, so we're not going to go through and talk about every single one. So instead we'll just focus on a couple of the ones that are good value or potentially run changing. So we've already spoken about the IPC banking and IPC promotional saga ones earlier, but these are going to be amazing for your run. The banking one gives you 600 fragments, which doubles into 1,200. And then with the IPC promotion one, this will triple your current fragments after 5 battles. So that's absolutely huge. So make sure that you set them up beforehand. And then there's also the chance of getting the IOU dispenser, which is similar to the promotional saga one, also giving you out a IOU Curio. The newest event comes in a couple of different forms, but the one that allows you to gamble on fragments is really good. Since we're running Remembrance, you get access to a special option that sets the failure rate to 50%. That means that you can actually go on for quite a while given enough luck. Ruin May is one of the ones that I wouldn't bank on getting, as it is the rarest event in the game, so if you do find her, that's a juicy 4,000 fragments in the bank. Cosmic Crescendo is a bit of a gamble. This event triggers 10 random effects in a row, which means that it might do some unpredictable things like give you a Curio that consumes all your fragments or just simply take away half your fragments. But I've also seen it give out some insane amounts of fragments too. If you've ever seen those runs where people finish with over 100,000 fragments, it's likely that they ran into a Cosmic Crescendo that's given out an IOU that instantly breaks, repaired it, and then issued it out again. And then there are some traps that you need to avoid at all costs, such as the Societal Dreamscape, which gives you up to 1,000 Cosmic Fragments, along with 1 or 2 negative Curios. Maybe if it's early on, I would gamble for this, but there's no way I would risk it on a decent run. Okay, now let's move on to the last section, optimal decision making when it comes to selecting what tiles to move to and which ones to duplicate. So at the start of most typical runs, you're going to want to be prioritizing occurrence tiles, as they tend to have a higher return on investment when it comes to fragments compared to rewards or combat tiles. This does, however, all change if you ever get an elite mutation tile on the map, as this means that now you need to instantly pivot all your focus on duplicating and hitting as many mutation tiles as possible. These tiles give you a whopping 700 to 800 fragments per battle with just a Gossip Curio. So it's up to 1,200 to 1,400 if you have a Society ticket. And before you go and drop a comment saying that this has been nerfed, I'm here to tell you that these are post-nerf numbers. So prior to the nerf, the bug was that breakables within mutation levels were giving up to 600 fragments per break, up to 1,200 apiece with the Omniscient Capsule Curio, and then double that for 2 breakables to make 2,400 from just breakables. Once you factor in the elite, that's almost 4,000 fragments per mutation tile. So what they've done is they've nerfed the amount of fragments that you get from the boss just a little bit, and then they've just totally eliminated breakables from the map entirely. But even still, with post-nerf numbers, 700 fragments a fight is amazing. So once you're around the 3,000 fragment mark, the goal is to keep on hitting occurrences in order to try to find the IPC Promotion Saga Part 4 or the IOU Dispenser, as the IOU Curio will triple your fragments to take you to the 9,000 to 10,000 fragment mark. Failing that, if you do find yourself approaching the 4,000 to 5,000 mark, this is when you need to pivot to start focusing on maximizing Curio gains. The best way to do this is target farming adventure domains, with the caveat that you're able to clear them for the maximum rewards every time. I've got videos on my channel showcasing how to capture 16 trotters and break 30 barrels with free-to-play characters if you need help, which I'll link up above. So perfect clearing adventure domains will not only give you 200 fragments, it also allows you to pick from a set of 3 random curios with our aim to find the silver coin of Discord. Second to adventure domains would be transaction domains, as you are able to purchase curios from a random selection of 3 from Herder there as well. And so those are my tips for target farming this achievement. It did go on for a little bit longer than I had planned, but I really wanted to give you guys a really comprehensive overview on all the factors that might help with this achievement. So let me know if there's anything I've missed or if you've got a different strategy from me.